Let's face it, your credit history and your credit scores matter. They tell your lenders how worthy you are of borrowing their money and how likely you are to pay that money back on time. Many of our clients are in the process of refinancing their student loans and mortgages right now, while others are buying their first homes. And what we've discovered is that there's a ton of information and misinformation out there about debt, credit reports, and credit scores. How do you even distinguish what's fact and what's fiction? Do you know if checking your credit will actually hurt your credit score? Or if your credit score will drop when you open a new account or when you close an old account? Can someone check your credit score without you even knowing? Or worse yet, can your employer check your credit report and fire you because they find something they don't like? Well, by the end of this video, you'll be able to answer all of these questions and more, because today we're gonna break down the top credit myths for you. Keep watching to learn what's real and what's rubbish when it comes to your credit, as well as how you can potentially give your credit score a bit of a boost. For those of you new to Diamond Nest Egg, welcome to the #1 place to learn about money, investing, and retirement. I'm Jennifer, and I've spent most of my life in finance. Started working at banks like JP Morgan and Goldman Sachs at the age of 17, and graduated top of my class from NYU and Harvard Business School, studying, you guessed it, finance and business. And now I work with companies like Bloomberg, WeWork, and Walker Edison, teaching their employees all about financial literacy and education. Please note that Diamond Nest Egg is a financial literacy education and coaching company, and that I'm a licensed insurance broker. We are not a bank, securities broker, legal, tax, or financial advisor. So let's get started. Myth number 1, checking your credit will hurt your credit score. This is one of the biggest credit myths of all time. Listen, you can check your credit scores every hour, every day if you wanted to, on personal finance apps like Credit Karma and Mint, and it will not have a bit of an impact on your credit. This type of credit check is called a soft pull or soft inquiry and has zero effect on your credit scores. Compare this to when you apply for a new credit card or loan. When you do this, the lender will also check your credit before deciding whether or not to approve you for that new credit card or loan. This is known as a hard inquiry. A hard inquiry will impact your credit scores and legally cannot occur without your permission. If you have a decent credit score, here's a chart of what FICO considers good, very good, and excellent credit scores. If you fall into the good or above category, and assuming you're not opening a ton of new credit accounts all at once, the impact of a hard inquiry on your credit score is typically about 3 to 5 points for a few weeks, after which your credit score will bounce back to its previous level before the hard inquiry happens. If, on the other hand, you don't have superstar scores, a hard inquiry could knock your credit scores down by up to 10 points and take longer than a few weeks to revert back to previous levels. And multiple hard inquiries over a short period of time, say less than 3 months, will damage your credit scores even more. I always recommend that clients sign up for a Credit Karma account like we have ourselves. With Credit Karma, my credit scores are always on my cell phone. And an added plus, Credit Karma tells me anytime my credit scores change or if an account has been opened or closed in my name. And equally important, when a lender pulls a hard inquiry on my account. I've included the link for Credit Karma in the description below this video. Myth number 2, anyone, including your employer, can check your credit score. Some employers, such as banks, credit card companies, and the government, think basically any organization in which you might have the possibility of handling other people's money. These employers will check your credit report before hiring you, but they cannot, by law, check your credit scores. The credit report these employers receive will typically include everything related to your credit, except for your date of birth, account numbers, and anything that might be a security risk for you. Do keep 2 things in mind though. First, you have to willingly sign a waiver to allow your employer to check your credit report. But of course, if you really want the job, you wouldn't really say no. Who knows what would happen if you did? Anyway, second, if you're not hired for the job based on what was found on your credit report, your prospective employer is legally required to give you a copy of that report and what is known as an adverse action notice, stating the reason why you were denied the position. Here is a list of other businesses and organizations that can pull your credit to assess your creditworthiness. Guys, if you're enjoying this video so far or have learned something new, please give us a like and hit that subscribe button. This tells us that we should keep making videos like this one, and it also helps push this video out to others like you who are trying to win with their money. So myth number 3, there's only one credit score. FICO and the 3 credit bureaus, Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion, all use different credit scoring models that calculate your score in a slightly different manner. Meaning, your credit score will look different depending on whether it's a FICO score, an Equifax score, an Experian score, or a TransUnion score. If you take a look here, you can see that there's a nearly 70-point difference between my FICO and TransUnion scores. This doesn't concern me though, because this 70-point difference is pretty stable. It's roughly the same difference month after month, plus or minus a few points. Plus, I stay on top of my credit and know that all the information on my credit report is correct, and you should do the same. So, FICO is the credit scoring model that 90% of lenders use when determining whether or not to approve you for new credit. If you're a Citibank or an American Express customer, you can find your FICO score in your online account. Otherwise, Discover offers free FICO scores on their website, regardless of whether or not you're a Discover customer. I've included Discover's free FICO link in the description below. But if you're not a Discover customer, just make sure to uncheck the box allowing them to send you emails. Otherwise, you'll be bombarded with Discover credit card offers. You should also know that what you see on Credit Karma, Mint, and other personal finance apps is not your FICO score. It's typically the Vantage credit score, which was founded in 2006 by Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion as a means of competing against FICO. More and more financial institutions are starting to use Vantage, but FICO is still the king of credit scores. What are some credit myths you've heard of or wondering about? Drop us a comment below and let us know. Myth number 4, your education, job, account balances, and demographics impact your credit scores. Getting into a great school, landing a better job, sorry to say, has absolutely no effect whatsoever on your credit scores, nor do your savings balances, retirement balances, and demographics. Your credit scores are based only on the information on your credit report, which includes lots of data on your credit usage and debt management. It does not include any information on where you went to school, your job title, income level, and bank and retirement accounts. It also does not include anything regarding your race, national origin, religion, disabilities, sexual orientation, or military veteran status. And so if it's not on your credit report, it can't affect your credit score. Our financial coaching clients have on average over $200,000 of debt, mostly student loans. So paying off debt, building up credit, and understanding what actually helps versus hurts wealth accumulation are typically the first things we work on with all of them. So if this sounds like you, drop us a note at jennifer@diamondnestic.com to see how I can help you reach your financial goals faster than you would on your own. Whether your goal is paying off debt, saving and buying that first home, or simply learning how to make your money work harder for you. So myth number 5, closing accounts that you don't use won't hurt your score. Unfortunately, it will in most cases, at least temporarily, especially if you're closing an account you've had for a long time. Why? Because 15% of your credit score is based on the average age of the accounts you have open, and closing an account will reduce this average age. All things being equal, the longer your credit history, the higher your credit score. Also, closing an account generally increases your credit utilization, one of the top 2 factors that impacts your credit score. Your credit utilization rate is how much credit you're using, that's your total outstanding balance, relative to how much credit you have available, which is your total credit limit. Let's go through an example. So, say that you have 3 credit cards, each with a $5,000 credit limit, for a total credit limit of $15,000. and that you have a total outstanding balance of $5,000. Your credit utilization would then be calculated as $5,000, your total outstanding balance, over $15,000, your total credit limit available, or 33.33%. If you were to close one of those credit cards because you didn't need it anymore, your total credit limit would drop from $15,000 to $10,000. Assuming the same total outstanding balance as before of $5,000, your credit utilization would now be calculated as $5,000, your total outstanding balance, over $10,000, your total credit limit. Meaning your credit utilization would skyrocket to 50% instead of 33.33% because you closed that one credit card. A high credit utilization rate like this will negatively impact your credit score. Take a look at this video over here to learn more about credit utilization and the other 4 factors that truly affect your credit score, plus all the things you can do immediately to give your score a boost. Now, having said that closing an account will temporarily cause your credit score to drop, if you're one of those folks who having an unused credit card lying around will be tempted to spend money you normally wouldn't have spent otherwise, then you're better off closing that account in the long run. Piling on more debt so you can keep your credit score up is not a smart thing to do. Also, just because closing an account will drop your credit score in the short term doesn't mean you shouldn't fully pay off a loan or credit card if you're financially capable of doing so. In this case, just take the temporary hit and get yourself out of debt as soon as you can. When it comes to debt, the less you have, the better, because it means more money in your pocket in the long run. If you're looking to pay off more debt, build up your emergency and retirement savings, and get your finances in order this year, I highly recommend our financial goal setting and budgeting videos right over here. They'll help prioritize your money goals in 2021, help you have more control over your money, and really kick off your financial journey. Moving on to myth number 6, that the credit bureaus are owned by the government. They're not. The credit bureaus are independent, commercial, for-profit companies. The government, however, is responsible for the many laws that regulate how these credit bureaus operate. The reason for this? To protect your rights so that you can fairly access your credit history, dispute incorrect information, see who can see your credit reports, and seek damages from violators. Myth number 7, you need an 800 credit score to get the best loans and credit cards. You don't. According to Beverly Hartsock, U.S. News and World Report credit card expert and consumer finance analyst, if you can get up to around a 760, you're going to get the same benefits, the same offers that someone who has an 840 score is going to get. And according to the guy who runs consumer education and advocacy at Experian, one of the 3 major credit reporting agencies, according to this fella Griffin, the target credit score you should be shooting for can be even as low as 750. Because at this point, generally, and I quote, there's not much use in stressing out over improving it. You'll likely qualify for the best offers. Be sure to take a look at this video here to learn more about why shooting for an 800 credit score is a lot of effort for naught. In it though, we also talk about the steps that you can take if you really, truly want to get that 800 plus number. Myth number 8, debit cards also help you build credit. Debit cards are pieces of plastic like credit cards, but that's where the similarities end. Debit cards simply allow you to electronically pull cash out of your bank account. Debit card transactions, like prepaid credit card transactions, aren't usually reported to the credit bureaus. So there's no way for lenders to know if you're paying responsibly or managing your debt well. That's why debit cards and prepaid credit cards play absolutely no role in building your credit. Myth number 9, spouses have a joint credit report. There's no such thing as a joint credit report, even if you're married. Your credit report is linked to your social security number and is yours alone. Your partner's credit report is linked to his or her social security number, and belongs to only him or her. Do note though that if you're married or if you simply have joint accounts with your partner, such as a mortgage, car loan, or shared credit card accounts, these joint items will appear on both your credit reports and will affect both of your scores. So for example, if one of you misses a loan or credit card payment, both your credit scores will take a hit. So I've gone through the most common credit myths that we get questions on. This list is by no means exhaustive. So if you have any questions or comments, be sure to drop us a note below or shoot us an email at jennifer@diamondnestic.com. Thanks for watching, guys. If you enjoyed this video, we'd really appreciate a thumbs up and a subscribe so that we can keep pumping out great personal finance videos for all of you. See you again in a few days with another money-saving, wealth-building video.